The moment Kyler Gordon hit the turf clutching his calf, the Chicago Bears' defensive blueprint didn't just fracture, it completely detonated. Without their star nickel corner anchoring the secondary, Dennis Allen's intricate coverage packages have instantly turned into a defensive coordinator's worst nightmare. While rookie Malik Muhammad and veteran Cam Lewis scramble for survival in a high-stakes slot war, safety Coby Bryant is being thrust into an emergency three-safety hybrid role just to keep the secondary afloat. If Chicago can't mask these fatal defensive vulnerabilities before division rivals start tearing apart third and medium, Week 1 won't just be a test, it will be an absolute execution. General Manager Ryan Poles is running out of time, and if this emergency reshuffle collapses, the Bears' entire season could be over before it even begins. The news from Halas Hall spread with the subtle, chilling speed of a quiet, catastrophic failure. When the team officially placed Kyler Gordon on the physically unable to perform list due to a nagging, persistent calf strain, the immediate public reaction was standard sports radio fodder, a minor setback, a standard training camp delay, a wait-and-see precaution. But inside the coaching rooms, the atmosphere shifted to pure tactical panic. In the modern National Football League, the nickel cornerback is no longer a luxury depth position or a specialized package substitute. He is the literal central nervous system of an entire defensive framework. Offenses are running three-receiver personnel sets on well over 70% of their snaps, effectively transforming the traditional base defense into an ancient relic. When you lose the one athlete capable of bridging the gap between boundary run support, high-speed lateral coverage, and complex blitz disguises, the entire structure disintegrates from the inside out. Gordon was not simply a designated slot defender. He was the unique key that unlocked Dennis Allen's ambitious, heavy disguise defensive system. Allen's playbook relies heavily on pre-snap confusion, demanding that the slot corner play with the instincts of a middle linebacker and the fluid hips of an elite boundary corner. Gordon possessed the rare explosive burst required to trigger downhill against outside zone runs, standard sweep plays, and screen passes, while simultaneously retaining the elite cover agility needed to lock down lightning-quick slot receivers running high-percentage option routes. Without Gordon on the field, that crucial junction in the middle of the field suddenly sits completely wide open. The secondary loses its natural elasticity, forcing safety help to tilt inward and leaving outside boundary corners isolated on islands without any reliable over-the-top insurance. The true disaster of the slot position is that its failure cascades across every single level of the defense. If the nickel corner cannot hold his ground against physical run blocks, opposing offensive coordinators will ruthlessly spam inside zone runs directly into the alley, forcing linebackers to overcommit and step out of their assigned passing lanes. Conversely, if the substitute nickel corner lacks the speed to handle quick-hitting slant or whip routes on third down, the quarterback gets the ball out in under 2.2 seconds, effectively neutralizing even the most terrifying pass rush. Chicago's front four can generate all the pressure in the world, but if the slot is bleeding easy 5-yard completions, that pass rush will never even have the time to reach the quarterback. The entire defensive engine stalls before it can even turn the key. This sudden vacancy has instantly exposed the terrifyingly fragile state of Chicago's secondary depth. What was once supposed to be a seamless, highly aggressive unit designed to challenge for division supremacy has been forced into full-blown crisis management mode before the regular season has even kicked off. The coaching staff is painfully aware that modern offensive masterminds spend their entire week identifying the single weakest link in a defensive backfield and attacking it relentlessly until the defensive coordinator breaks. By losing Gordon for an extended duration, the Bears haven't just lost a starting player, they have willingly surrendered the structural integrity of their entire field geometry, leaving a massive target painted directly on the nickel spot. With Kyler Gordon sidelined, the spotlight at training camp has shifted directly onto a fiery, high-stakes battle for first-team reps at the nickel spot. It is a classic NFL clash of philosophies. The unproven, electrifying potential of a rookie versus the battle-tested, steady hand of a veteran free agent signee. On one side of the line stands rookie fourth-round pick Malik Muhammad, fresh out of Texas. Muhammad possesses the exact physical profile NFL talent evaluators drool over. Boasting a 4.42 40-yard dash speed and remarkable arm length, he looks every bit like a modern defensive back designed in a lab to erase athletic slot receivers. In drill work, Muhammad's explosive twitch is undeniable. He can flip his hips in a heartbeat, match vertical acceleration down the seam, and trigger downhill on screen passes with dynamic closing speed. However, playing slot cornerback in Dennis Allen's defense requires far more than raw physical gifts. It demands instant mental processing and veteran instincts. For a rookie, stepping into the nickel position is like being thrown into an air traffic control tower during peak hours. Every pre-snap motion, shift, and tight end trade alters your coverage rules in milliseconds. Throughout early camp reps, Muhammad's high-ceiling athleticism has been occasionally overshadowed by rookie errors, a delayed recognition of a pick play here, a missed alignment against motion there. In the NFL, quarter-second hesitations turn into explosive 50-yard touchdowns, and opposing coordinators will gladly bait a rookie into costly mistakes. That raw uncertainty is precisely why General Manager Ryan Poles brought in veteran free agent Cam Lewis. After 6 seasons operating as a versatile defensive Swiss Army knife in Buffalo, Lewis arrives in Chicago as the ultimate stabilization policy. He won't dazzle fans with highlight reel interceptions or jaw-dropping athletic metrics, but Lewis rarely makes a positional mistake. He understands the subtle nuances of nickel play, how to leverage route trees against the sideline, how to use hands to reroute slot receivers at the line of scrimmage, and how to communicate pre-snap adjustments to the safety behind him. Where Muhammad relies on recovery speed to fix leverage mistakes, Lewis avoids the mistake altogether through pre-snap anticipation. In run support, Lewis is disciplined and physical, setting the edge against perimeter sweeps and aggressively filling the alley. Yet, the double-edged sword of relying on a veteran like Lewis is his athletic ceiling. Against lightning-quick slot wideouts who thrive in two-way option routes, Lewis can occasionally struggle to stick hip to hip, relying on trail technique and safety help to limit the damage rather than completely shutting down a target. This position battle has split the coaching staff's tactical vision down the middle. Do you throw Muhammad into the fire, risking costly early season mistakes in exchange for playmaking upside and long-term development? Or do you lean on the steady, floor-raising consistency of Cam Lewis to keep the defense from giving up cheap, explosive plays? Defensive coordinator Dennis Allen knows that modern offenses run through the slot. If an offense detects a mismatch at nickel, they will line up their premier receiver inside and run high-percentage options until you prove you can stop it. Every practice rep at Halas Hall carries massive weight as Muhammad and Lewis fight for the starting job. A single dropped coverage or missed tackle in scrimmage could be the difference between earning the first-team nod in Week 1 or sitting on the bench watching division rivals ruthlessly target a vulnerable secondary. With the standard nickel corner position in total flux, defensive coordinator Dennis Allen has been forced to get creative, unlocking a high-stakes contingency plan built entirely around top free agent acquisition Coby Bryant. Bryant arrived in Chicago with a reputation for playing a fast, violent, and highly instinctive brand of football, a championship-tested veteran whose ball-hawking instincts turned heads immediately in early summer camp practices. Originally entering the league as a boundary corner before seamlessly transitioning into an elite, hard-hitting safety, Bryant possesses a remarkably versatile skill set that allows Allen to alter the visual landscape of his defense. Instead of forcing an unready boundary player into traditional slot reps or risking a specialized backup against elite route runners, Chicago's defensive staff has turned toward heavy three safety packages, relying on Bryant's unique hybrid range to mask the secondary's gaping dynamic vulnerabilities. By deploying three safeties on the field simultaneously, pairing Bryant alongside high-flying rookie starter Dylan Thieneman, the Bears can effectively erase the physical burden placed on the traditional nickel cornerback position. In these specialized big nickel looks, Bryant drops down into the intermediate area of the field, operating as a glorified apex defender who can function as both a box safety against the run and an instinctive robber in underneath pass coverage. Because Bryant reads quarterback eyes with surgical precision, his presence in the middle of the field forces opposing callers to second-guess quick-hitting, quick-game concepts. If an offense tries to exploit the short middle with quick slants or tight end seam routes, Bryant's downhill trigger speed allows him to disrupt the catch point with explosive, bone-rattling physicality. This structural flexibility gives Allen the luxury to show pre-snap single-high safety looks before dropping Bryant into the slot post-snap, disguising responsibilities and throwing off a quarterback's pre-snap reads. This three safety adjustment acts as a crucial tactical shield for the rest of the defensive backfield. It takes immediate pressure off young cornerbacks like Malik Muhammad by narrowing their coverage responsibilities, allowing them to play with outside leverage while knowing they have veteran help patrolling the high-danger middle zones. Furthermore, Bryant's infectious, high-octane energy and vocal leadership have given a revamped defensive backfield an immediate edge. Rather than sitting back in passive zones, Bryant attacks the ball in the air with receiver-like ball skills, turning routine camp 7-on-7 drills into competitive battles that force the entire secondary to play at a faster, more aggressive tempo. For a defense that relies heavily on generating game-changing takeaways to flip field position, Bryant's instinctual knack for jumping passing lanes provides a vital spark during an otherwise troubling injury period. Yet, shifting toward a three-safety rotation is not without its distinct structural trade-offs. Asking a safety, even one as athletic as Bryant, to consistently match up against twitchy, quick-footed slot receivers on clear passing downs is a dangerous tightrope walk. While Bryant excels at diagnosing plays, coming downhill and blanketing tight ends or physical slot targets, true slot wideouts with elite lateral quickness can still expose the foot speed disparity in pure man-to-man coverage. If division opponents isolate Bryant on 5-yard option routes, no amount of scheme magic or pre-snap disguise can completely hide the natural matchup disadvantage. Dennis Allen's three-safety reshuffle is a brilliant tactical band-aid designed to keep Chicago's defense afloat and aggressive while Kyler Gordon recovers, but it remains a high-wire act where one misread or physical limitation could instantly tear the entire scheme wide open. When you turn on the tape to analyze why losing a starting nickel corner causes an immediate system-wide meltdown, the film reveals a brutal truth about modern NFL geometry. The slot is no longer a localized zone on the field. It is the ultimate stress test for defensive architecture. In Dennis Allen's defense, The nickel corner operates in a high-density, multi-directional conflict zone. On any given third and medium, offensive coordinators will intentionally align their premier pass catchers in the slot, isolated against the nickel, to run high-percentage two-way option routes. Unlike boundary receivers, who are constrained by the physical boundary of the sideline, a slot receiver has total green grass freedom. They can break inward across the field, angle outward toward the numbers, or vertically split the seams. When Kyler Gordon is healthy, his footwork and elite reaction speed allow him to maintain leverage without giving up early cushion. But when an inexperienced or ill-fitted substitute steps into that spot, opponents run a ruthless, repetitive blueprint designed to isolate and destroy that matchup. Divisional rivals will spend all week obsessively studying Chicago's tape to exploit this exact structural flaw. Consider how an opponent attacks an inexperienced nickel corner on 3rd and 6. Pre-snap, the offense shifts into a 3-by-1 spread formation, putting their fastest slot receiver in motion to force the substitute cornerback to reveal his coverage rules in real time. If Chicago plays standard single-high man coverage, the receiver runs an option route directly at the corner's inside shoulder. Because a backup or rookie corner is naturally terrified of giving up the vertical seam or an easy inside slant for a first down, they routinely overcommit their hips inward. The moment the receiver feels that weight shift, they stick a foot in the dirt and snap outward on an uncoverable whip route. The quarterback throws on rhythm in under 2.2 seconds, and the offense converts an effortless third down before the pass rush even crosses the line of scrimmage. The film gets even uglier when Chicago attempts to hide that vulnerability using zone coverages like Cover 2 or Cover 3 Sky. In zone concepts, the nickel corner is tasked with dropping into the curl flat area while simultaneously carrying any vertical threat from the slot receiver long enough to hand them off to the safety over the top. Offensive callers counter this by running high-low flood concepts specifically designed to put the substitute nickel in a spatial dilemma. The outside receiver runs a deep go route to clear out the boundary corner. The tight end runs an intermediate 10-yard out to pull the nickel corner out of his drop, and a back out of the backfield leaks into the flat. If the nickel corner hesitates for even a fraction of a second, caught between sinking to protect the seam or driving on the flat route, the throw is delivered right into the vacated soft pocket of the zone. On film, you watch the defensive line get a clean push, only for the ball to fly right over their heads into an open void. This constant bleeding on third down carries a devastating cumulative psychological toll for the entire team. A defense can dominate first and second down, stuffing a run for a short loss and forcing an incomplete pass, only to see a masterclass defensive series completely erased because the opponent simply turns to their favorite slot exploit on 3rd and medium. When opposing offenses can convert 3rd and 6 with 80% efficiency simply by attacking the slot, it completely alters the game script. It forces Dennis Allen to pull back on his aggressive blitz packages, forces linebackers to play passively rather than triggering downhill, and drains the defense's energy as their field time skyrockets. The film breakdown doesn't lie. Until Chicago can consistently hold the line at the nickel position, every 3rd and medium will feel like walking through a minefield. Ultimately, the Chicago Bears find themselves standing at a terrifying crossroads, where tactical ambition collides directly with roster reality. If Kyler Gordon's calf injury lingers deep into September, Dennis Allen's defensive blueprint will face its absolute breaking point before the regular season even warms up. Bridging the slot gap through a high-wire rotation of unproven rookies like Malik Muhammad, veteran patchups in Cam Lewis, or structural shifts with Coby Bryant may work as a short-term survival tactic, but it is not a sustainable long-term strategy against high-powered NFL offenses. If rival play callers continuously isolate and exploit Chicago's secondary on third down, all the momentum generated by Ben Johnson's revamped offense will be completely neutralized by a defense that simply cannot get off the field. The window to stabilize this backfield internally is rapidly closing, and the coaching staff knows that hope is not an operational game plan when live bullets start flying in week 1. That reality puts the spotlight squarely on General Manager Ryan Poles, who must decide whether to trust this emergency reshuffle or pull the trigger on a veteran free agent signing before it is too late. The free agent market may be thin, but bringing in a proven nickel corner, even one past their physical prime, could provide the vital floor-raising stability that keeps the secondary from collapsing during Gordon's absence. In a ruthless NFC North, where every single division game carries massive postseason implications, sitting idle and hoping a makeshift slot unit figure things out on the fly is a gamble Chicago can ill afford to take. If Poles waits too long to address the bleed, Week 1 won't just expose a single roster weakness. It could set off a catastrophic chain reaction that destabilizes the entire 2026 season. The secondary crisis is officially here, and the Bears' response over the next few days would define the trajectory of their entire year.